Welcome to the Tutors of Life podcast, where we research life so you don't have to. Episode 272. This is your host, Shaun Tudor.
And this is Sam. This is a talk episode?
Yeah.
Where the tutors talk.
Yeah.
Plus AJ.
Plus AJ.
Yeah, AJ's joining us. And Mimi eating a goddamn toy.
Yeah. You can't see her in the picture at all.
Okay.
She's destroying it.
Yeah, she is.
On a mission.
Always.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
So what's new, gang?
I'm tired.
I'm glad to have REI-CON done. You know what? I'm excited to have the next one planned. Well, not planned, but next one already set as well.
Yeah. I'm very happy that it's done and we can chill out for a few minutes. But I'm grateful we have the next one planned and people signed up so that it's like we know where we're headed. But we
Provides a little motivation too, I think.
We
right.
already have more people signed up than we did 2 months. They're like a month before this past one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm taking that thing.
So I think we had, what did we end up having? 60 people
65?
buy tickets? 60, 65?
Yeah, I think 65 bought tickets. Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So out of that, we already have half of that
Yep.
sold for the next one, which is
Sick.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm excited. I'm very excited for the next one, and also excited to try and or look at putting on a day event, like a seminar type in fall, which would be really good.
Not like a seminar, like a
Okay, one
workshop.
Like a workshop, deep dive workshop.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of lifting terms. Everything was a seminar in lifting.
No. Yeah, the fact that, did you tell AJ that Colin texted you Sunday?
Yeah.
Literally the day after the event was just like, yeah, I'm excited for the next one.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's start planning it. And we're just like, no.
I was like, Dog, I'm gonna meet back up with you in a couple months. I'm gonna go work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna relax.
We need to work on our business for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But at Wisco REI on Tuesday, I had a lot of people that were really interested in it. Oh, you asked too.
Yeah, because we asked, and half the room was like, "Yeah, would love that."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I got some. The only feedback I got that was like, oh, it's kind of average speakers was from one person.
Mm.
And it's kind of funny because that person isn't even that active in it.
mm-hmm.
And it was a free ticket winner, So I was
Really?
on.
yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you who it is afterwards.
A lot of that, dude.
Basically, he's like, yeah, there's definitely value there, but I'd say the speakers are about average. This kind of looked at him as like, he's like, well, don't ask for input if you don't want. I was like, no, I want it. It was just kind of a surprise that it's the first I've heard that.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 minutes later, same group's talking, and who was it? Somebody, I think you were there. It's like, dude, I would have paid $5,000 for that.
Damn.
Like right next to,
Yeah.
it was Luke.
Oh shit.
I would have paid $5,000 to get that knowledge. I was like,
Yeah.
sweet. Like right next to the person that said he didn't find that much value in it, basically.
That's
That's
awesome.
sick. Whoa, dude.
I mean, in all the feedback, there was only one person that gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
The rest of them were like,
Probably the same person. I wouldn't doubt it.
no.
No, it's
No?
different. No.
Mhm.
You know who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah,
We'll tell you
after
after.
this. It's just one of those things, dude. It's like, what I've noticed is, so you got the people, like, we'll just use Ryan, for example, who's doing a lot of shit. And he was like, oh, that was great. Like, great lineup. Obviously, it would have been nice if the only thing was we had so many people that have spoken at Wisco REI before.
Mhm.
So next year we'll be able to change that around. But he was like, even he said, like, the content was great. Like, someone that's actually doing it with 470 units or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a lot out of it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, if the people that have a couple properties or barely doing stuff or whatever, and they're like, oh, it wasn't that great, it's like, oh really?
Yeah, there was probably two of the most commented thing on. The one was either less speakers with an hour and 15 minutes or 5 speakers with an hour of speaking.
Yeah.
And I like a handful of people mentioned how they wanted more relatable speakers. And I was like, you don't we don't need a speaker that is the same size as you for you to take something from them. Like, I think just quite a few people, I shouldn't say quite a few, those handful of people had a hard time getting past the fact of, like, these people are doing stuff and have bigger businesses and, like, taking that knowledge and applying it to theirs. Like, I just think they couldn't comprehend that. Like, they're just like, they're way up here and I can't do anything they're doing until I'm up there.
Which is kind of ridiculous in a sense, because every one of the speakers talked about where they started from.
100%.
Yeah, even Colin, talked about literally, I started, I was making a decent money for regular job, but then it was like, do I want to be stuck cutting down days to retirement? Got started and blew up. Like everyone of the speakers,
Right.
I thought was relatable with that. So if
yeah.
you're not willing to,
And the fact that Colin started only 7 years ago.
Right.
Like, that's not a whole lot of time to get from nothing to where he is now.
Well, no, yeah. The other part with it is, like, the people that do more of, like, the information type speaking on something, more like entry level, they're the ones that go to the Whiskeria. Like, for example, Jason and Chris, theirs was very much like quite a bit more high level than the stuff they do when they go to Whiskeria and present. And it's like, yeah, for a reason, because if you want, like, we're not going to have them speak the same shit they speak at Whiskeria that you can see any month without paying extra. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. Like, there needs to be a value brought to people, and it's different quality of the presentation. So,
well, and Chris even said when he came to speak at Whiskeria, like, if you want a more in-depth version of this, go to REI-CON.
Right.
Like, he even said then and there that that's what he's going to speak about.
And I guess for him, that's the only thing I was hoping, is he was going to go a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
Like working out his numbers for the build out. I didn't really see him like.
He did a little bit. He talked about what was quoted when he bought it.
Yeah.
And then what he was able to get it down to.
Which he did at the regular event too. But yeah. What I do like about that is literally, for that, I think like a lot of people will look at, for storage units, they'll look at just what is there performing instead of being able to look ahead, do the feasibility study if you add 50 more units, 100 more units.
I did like someone asked too about with him, because he only does steel. So someone asked like, oh, have you quoted out like using block? And, yeah. Which he did say he's like actually working on looking at the numbers for that too.
Yeah, block and wood. I mean, wood would go up so fast and so easy if you did wood. Oh, that'd be so easy. The only issue is, and this is what, like, one of the main things that Chris had said in his original presentation at Whiskeria was, if you do steel and there's a fire, the only thing burning is the content. Your structure's still good.
Oh, yeah.
So if someone starts a fire in a unit, like, their stuff burns, but the building doesn't burn.
It would stay only in that unit for the most part, right?
It depends if some of them leave open portions.
Oh, up above, yeah.
But I mean, most of those in the inside are just steel, where like a lot of the wood ones are built with plywood. So I mean, you've got a big
steel. You're going to run out of a fuel source at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. Where the wood ones, you ain't running out.
No,
it's going and it's going hard. So that's what the kind of aspect that I do like about the steel. Is that
I have to say this real quick because I haven't mentioned it yet. I loved the fact that Chris did say, like, when he bought it and they're like, oh, you have to do all these particular things. And he's like, wait, that's the city of Madison rules. I'm in the city of Milton or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, just paying attention to those little differences, because we've talked about it here. Like, Eau Claire County versus Chippewa County is way different. And, like, getting out of the city of Eau Claire, you can do so many more things.
Yep.
So it is, like, something to pay attention to.
Yeah, and that even changes municipality-wise. So being the Eau Claire County, but if you're in, like, Seymour or Town of Washington.
Oh, definitely Town of Washington.
Matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Time.
Just PTSD with Town of Washington now.
Love them people over there.
Well, in even our, like, neighborhood, because we're by the airport, we have different rules too, even, which we only found that out because of Ryan.
Yeah.
So
which is neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all interesting. It's things like that being in the crowd listening when they say stuff like that, it's like, oh, that's a really good point. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You can take that and be like, yeah, if I ever run into a situation, make sure the plans I'm looking at are for my county or my township or whatever.
And that can make or break a deal for you, where a lot of people are just going to be like, that's, literally just throw it off their plate because it's not going to be a deal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
With just a little bit of legwork and understanding what's going on or working with the right people. Now it makes sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the fact that David Nelson talked about how he's actually switching his short-term rentals to back to long-term rentals.
It, dude.
And then the fact at Wiscoria on Tuesday, you're like, who's interested in learning more about short-term rentals? And like half the room raised their hand. And I was like, we literally just heard from a guy saying that he's switching back to long-term.
Yeah, he'll switch some of his stuff. I know he's keeping some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like he said, though, he doesn't buy his.
With those numbers, yeah.
Right. And that's where people
smart.
get into trouble is, I can rent it for 3 times what normal rent is as a short term.
Yeah.
Or even a midterm. So.
Well, and that's what I did. So we've got one short term, and we had one of our small properties, one of our 1-bed 1-bath coming up off of Cedar Street, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna check to see what this would do if we did medium term rentals at $1,800 from the hospital. Dude, we would make the same amount in cash flow as we do now once we factored in utilities, furnishings, cleaning. And once we factored all that in, I was like, it's the same cash flow. I'm not doing any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
So much more headache. It's like less guarantee. You got to throw up more money up front because you got to go spend $6,000 to furnish it and all that shit. And yeah, looking at that, I was like, wow, that. But a lot of people, like he was saying, they'll just see $1,800,
right?
And they'll be like, oh, I'm in. And it's like, well, then you're paying for them to have the AC at whatever they want. You're paying for them to have the heat at whatever, whatever.
Right.
So, I don't know. Yeah, overall, though, the event went phenomenal.
It went really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
I'm here for you guys. I had one person complain that they should have been notified that they needed their QR code for check-in and that there was no notebooks. And I sent in an email.
Yeah.
But I don't think people look at because it just comes from Eventbrite.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
end of the day, to have just a couple people complain out of, we literally had 85 people in the room. Right. So just take that with a grain of salt. I think that's a pretty huge victory to just get a couple.
For one person, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, what it came down to was the overall feedback
was phenomenal.
96% feedback was 95% feedback was good.
Yeah.
So, and now we know the few things to change for next year.
Yeah. And literally like high level people that go to tons of seminars, tons of events, workshops, saying all the ones they've been to, this is definitely the top 3. Like that's
wild.
That's crazy. And it comes from a person that we both know isn't bullshitting.
Ain't bullshitting, dude. They ain't gonna
If it
bullshit.
sucked, we would have been hung out to dry.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like how much just like with the VIP too, like the camaraderie we were able to have, like just being able to talk to everyone. That was one thing I felt like last year we didn't get the chance to really hang out a whole lot. I mean, you and I were doing 75 hard, so I think I went home shortly after the event was done.
Yeah, but even then, like what's really nice about that VIP night beforehand, one, we know speakers are in town, so that's huge to know speakers are showing up the next day. 2, you get to build that rapport with all the speakers and all the people so that the next day there's no awkwardness, there's no stress. It's just like, hey, dude, how you doing? How was your night? Blah, blah, blah. And things are rolling. You're chatting all day. Where if we didn't have that, it would have been...
Like, when are they coming?
Yeah, like us as strangers to strangers, and it's that connection's not going to be there, and it's not going to flow.
Not only for us, but also for the VIP people, because it was like, even when people got there, I was like, okay, and I love seeing networking, just like we get at Wiscoria, but it was literally like, okay, we need people to be quiet and sit down so we can get the show started. because there was so much talking, networking, and obviously the night before played into that because you could see people that were at the VIP event.
And it's got to be be a little bit nicer for the speakers too, because that's 15 people out of that group of people that they were already able to talk to.
Yep.
So then that's 15 less people that are going to come up and talk to them during the event.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or like if they do, they at least know them and can chat with them
And go more in depth on some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you think about it, dude, a lot of the times I've been to a few engagements where there's not a crazy amount of chatting and networking ahead of time. It's kind of like quiet. Some people chatting here and there. But it was like we had to yell a couple times, like, "Hey, dudes, shut up!
Yeah,
We got to get rolling."
right. It's a great problem to have.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I think what do we have afterwards? That's a long day, right? Literally getting there, most people at 8:30, 8:45.
Yep.
Event starting at 9, not wrapping up till almost 5.
Yep.
And then was there 20 people that went out to eat afterwards?
I think there's 20 people at dinner at 8:30.
Which wasn't even part of the event, but just
Right.
I was like, hey, let's go hang out some more. Like,
Yeah, so I mean, there were still 40 people until 8 at the venue, and
Right.
then they're like, "Get out of here," and we're like, "Ee," and then we pop over, and 20 people over having dinner at 8:00.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, it was phenomenal. Key takeaways, right? So, 4 speakers next year.
Yep.
With a breakout block. I think breakout block right after lunch.
Yeah, something more interactive.
Yeah, so that people are not like getting tired and whatever. And then
So you just do a breakout block for like an hour
Mm-hmm.
to make it for that spot of the
I think
speaker.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you still structure that lunch it still has to be very structured, because if it's not,
Yep.
but yeah, so same thing, 45-minute lunch right into the activity.
And then it's nice too, because it's not like the lunch ended up going a little bit over because we had a lot of questions with the second speaker. So if it goes over, then it's not too terrible, because you can kind of make up that time of having people eat in these breakout sessions too if they want to.
That's true.
It's not that big of a deal.
Right. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, what would you think, AJ, for a breakout? How would you want to set something like that up?
Or if we have to do it where people pick which breakout session they want to hit ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously each person's going to have their topic, and have them just pick a breakout session.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is everyone just, if you have the headline speaker,
Mm-hmm.
everyone picking that one because they want how
Yeah.
you do.
That's kind of like, because what we say, have people like let us know what topic they're interested in.
Yeah. So what Sam and I kind of discussed before was not putting what each speaker's talking on.
Mm-hmm.
So just having like the full list of the topics that are going to be covered, but not listing who is speaking on what. So then that way people can pick it and not know who they're getting. So, and then what also is nice with that is if we have like a last minute cancellation like we did, then we just fill in with that topic, because if we're saying we're covering these topics, just fill in with that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
The pivot we had to do there.
Yeah. So we, so 3 days before.
2 days, wasn't
2
it?
days.
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, it was on Thursday. So 2 days before the
Main event.
2 days before the main event, we get an email by essentially the headliner
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
that he can't. Just the last speaker, that he can't make it because of personal conflicts or whatever. So I see it come through. I'm calm as a cucumber. I'm like, dope. It's like, I have an idea how to fix this. Shoot you a message. Shoot Sam a message. Sam's like, not surprised. And you're like, yeah, I like the idea. You reached out to Don. Don's like, yep, I can do it. And thank God he could. Had to switch around the lineup. Make some calls, switch around the lineup to what's the word I'm looking for? Accommodate his schedule, Don's schedule for popping in last minute. and switched some stuff around, and we were able to make it happen. It was I'll say I was very in the moment. I was very much like, solve the problem.
Yeah. And it did work. Thanks to our network.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's huge. Just being able to come up with someone 2 days before the event.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he had prior commitments that he had to move around. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and why he wasn't top of the list for more people was kind of mind-boggling to me. Because his content is great. Like, that content that he shared, I'm like, we heard him in Appleton before. That's part of the reason I think we were like, yeah, definitely he'll be a great fit.
Oh yeah, he's exactly what we wanted
Mm-hmm.
in like topics covered.
Do you think he was just like too high level,
I
for
think-
what people were ready
I
for?
believe there's 2 reasons. Because having systems start first, people weren't primed for all that shit.
Yep.
Where like how we had it set up, systems last. So I think that was our first biggest thing there, is it was first instead of last. And the second thing is, I think so many people in that, no, that's not true. Half the people in the room are very much on like the still getting their first 10 properties or whatever, right? And so they aren't needing the systems yet.
Mm.
And so the people that like the Ryans, Duplex Joe, dudes that got 50 plus units, they're just like, oh, this is wildly valuable.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that have 10 units, 5 units are like, what do I need a system for?
Mm. And then in 2-3 years, they're going to be like, you know,
Should've
that
listened
would
to
have
that,
been
dude.
really good.
Yeah, and even if you're just working stuff, like you see some of the guys that are wholesaling that are doing 4,000 mailers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're doing that volume, even if you're not that busy, if you're doing that volume, you got to start getting stuff in line. Because if you're even getting 1%
Oh,
reaching
yeah.
back out to you, sorry to say, if you're putting out 4,000, you're getting 1% back, I guarantee for them, they're not utilizing that 1%. It's
Right.
just too much all at once, especially if you don't have something like that in place where you can track and you can follow up. You know, you got your filters set. You literally know who's in your funnel and where they should be in that funnel.
Right.
That's one of my biggest things with any business. And I'm teaching a girl some stuff for shipping right now. Is I teach them as if we're at a really high volume right now. And that's how I made systems for stable living back in the day. That's how I'm going to make systems for 2D transformations, is you make those systems as if you're bigger. So then when that happens, it is not as big of a headache to switch over.
Right. Yeah, because even for the calls and stuff I do for people, I've got, I'm dealing with a small list. So that way, and I just have it on Excel, but so that way I can have called these people, called this date. And then I can have mailed this date. And then if I want to have a text this date or whatever. So that way I know I'm following up with them, and then a little feedback section. Because if you don't have that, I'll give one example of a lady that we called them, you interested in selling your house or need any work or anything? And she's just like, no, just trees removed, right? And I'm like, okay, well, follow up with me in the spring. I'm clearly going to put her in my thing to follow up with her in the spring. But the thing is she doesn't just want trees. She's like, oh, I want trees removed, but I also want to get a fence too. We install fences, right? So it's that lead, if I don't have it in my Excel with the date to follow up about a fence, and I'll follow up about the trees, and then when I get someone out there to help her with the trees, then I'll be like, oh, by the way, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, that's a potential, 4-day job for my guys.
Mm-hmm.
That if I didn't have that I don't have I have Excel, but if I didn't have that in my Excel with dates, that's a potential job that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing I loved about Don's portion too, is he did talk about it doesn't have to be anything crazy, even though he literally builds out high level
Right.
systems.
Mm-hmm.
just start somewhere. And that's what, he talked to me afterwards. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to push my product.
Right.
Like it's fine. I just want people to be able to do something, because once they do get to a higher level, it is nicer to have. But even building with the girls on the team for real estate, like it's easy when you have 50 leads.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But we have 3,200 leads in our system right now that are just off of our website. Well, then I just pulled another 3,200 out of high likely to sell off that lead fusion.
Yeah,
that I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of leads.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shit ton of leads.
So all of a sudden, you're like, I'll remember this person. Well, you're not going to remember.
Mm-mm.
So I met with a conversion specialist for our website. Literally, I got a F grade on pretty much everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was working it the way I was told to work it originally. He was like, no, like your contacts need to be your first priority, because they're already in your funnel. Like they're funneling down in your funnel where they should be. Well, now they're contacted. You already know some of the answers to get them hopefully to the closing table, but they're falling through the cracks because you're worried about more people in the funnel as opposed to quality in the funnel. So he literally went through. He's like, anyone that's unsubscribed, anyone that from text and email, he said they're dead to me. They're out of the system. Just get them out of there. They're not worth your time. He's like, so be a little more choosy on who you work with. Which when you're starting, it's like everyone. You want everyone in there. And it's like, no, like literally, if they're unsubscribed, not opening your property alerts, get them out.
Right. That makes
Interesting.
sense.
Fill your funnel with quality, not quantity.
Yeah, that goes big into qualifying, where it's like when you're on a call or like you're talking to someone in person, the biggest thing is just understanding right away if you can even, like, if they even have the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're sitting there chatting with them about a $50,000 addition and they got 20 grand, what are we doing? Let's put a deck out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to qualify them for the conversation to be realistic. Otherwise, it's like, we're just wasting time here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, finding a way to qualify them. What are you hoping to keep your budget in? Whatever, to get an idea. Otherwise, it's just like what you guys do in real estate. What's your budget? What are you hoping for a monthly payment?
Right.
What are you hoping for, Because if you don't do that, it'd be like you sending me $500,000 houses when my budget's 200 grand.
Yeah. So we get that all the time with people when they're just starting to look.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the first thing. If you met with a lender, what's your financing look like? I always try not to assume they need financing.
Sure.
Because people that don't need financing, you ask them if they're pre-approved. They get offended. Whatever. So I'll just ask, what's financing looking for you? We're just starting to look. I'm like, well, you need to have that first.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to set you up on a search for a $350,000 home if your budget's $225,000. Because we're going to go look at stuff that you have no means of buying.
Yep.
You're going to be all excited for it. Then we're going to bring you back down to reality and show you properties that make sense.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big letdown. So get qualified first. Then we can get out and show you some stuff.
That's what I've been like telling my coworkers, because some of them are like thinking about buying a house soon. And I was like, go talk to a lender before you even start looking. Because like that is the most important thing you need to know is how much of a house you can afford.
Yeah. Or even want to. Like, that's what I like about, Cottrell. He's really good with that. He doesn't qualify people based on the value of the home. He just asks them straight up, like, what do you want your payment to be?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then he'll run numbers off that accordingly.
Yeah, because I talked to him 2 days ago on that walkthrough. I was talking to him. And he says he ends up trying to talk more people out of something than trying to talk them into getting, because he'll be like, one example he gave, he's like, young kid on the way, single income household, and he wants to buy a $300,000 house. And Brian's like, I'm fucking yelling at the kid, like, what are you doing? This is going to ruin your life, dude. Let's fucking buy a $200,000 house. Why would you do this to yourself when you have a baby on the way and one income?
Mm-hmm.
Why? And that right there is like a very quality dude. He doesn't care about the sale. He cares about the well-being of his client.
Right.
And it's so huge. And that's why Sam and I live in this house, and we don't live in like a $350,000, $400,000 house, which we could afford easily. But we're like, this is good enough, and we got fucking money
Right.
to do whatever. Go on
Right.
vacation, buy more rentals, buy a different car, whatever.
Quit my job.
Quit Sam's job, right? So it's like, dude, people oftentimes do not think about the stress relief when you're in half the house you could afford.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, one thing you got to think about with this house too. This is going to appreciate faster.
Yeah.
Than a $400,000 home. Like usually, appreciation on that takes longer. So, being a first, second, or third home,
Right.
something like this makes more sense until you're ready to literally like plank down for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely true. I like
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, you look at all the houses that are still on the market right now. They're mainly houses that are 300,000 plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Usually anything around 250 lower is gone.
It's hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, they move fast.
Yeah, because someone at my work was talking about how their friend was like flipping a house, and they're like, yeah, they want to sell it for 350,000, whatever. It was some flip that they were doing, and I was like, they're gonna have a hard time with that. They're like, oh, what do you mean? And they said like it should sell so fast, and I was like, anything that's above that 300 is not moving fast.
Yeah, you're seeing stuff in the like the 350 and under moving, but yeah, it's definitely a different market. But we're so conditioned to, I'm gonna list it today, and by Saturday I'll have 15 offers. And it's like that's not the market anymore.
Mm-mm.
You stay under that $200,000 price range.
Yeah.
That's still the market. You're still
Mhm.
gonna get multiple. But stuff, I wouldn't say it's back to normal because it's still not back to normal. But people are so conditioned, normal. Houses don't sit on the market anymore for 3 months before you move it. It's
Right.
Yeah.
if it's not moving in a week, people are like, "Why isn't my house selling?"
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's only been a week, or it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah. One, especially at winter too, right? People are like, don't want to move. It's
Mhm.
winter.
Right.
So things are really like, I mean, between the state of the market and winter, things are just slower. You got to wait a little bit longer, but it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Part of the game. I could see that hurting some flippers that use hard money lending and like staging and shit, because you got that sitting
Yeah.
there and all that,
Mhm.
where we use our own money, which is dumb, but it doesn't really bother us.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone at the gym, and they were talking about trying to get in the game of doing it. They're like, well, in a few years I'll be in a better position as far as they're investing in a sports rehab business.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about that, what they have going out, so on and so forth. He's like, a few years I'll be in a better position. I was like, well, why don't you just look at, like, literally you can go to Citizens and get an ARV loan.
Yeah.
So they're going to give you money based on the after repair value.
Yeah.
Especially if someone that person's also in construction.
Yep.
Literally, just go down, show them everything. Might hold it at the title company in escrow while you're doing it, but still, so many people. And he was also under the thoughts of, how does that work if you're using private money for commercial? You still gotta come up with 20% and let it season. I was like, none of that's the case with commercial.
No.
It's like, really? It's like, no, you don't have to let money season. Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't matter. You can, go grab $60,000 from any account, throw it in your account, and it's good to go that day.
Yep.
Mhm.
There's no seasoning period.
And some of them too, you can get what you just pay interest only.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. That's how I had it set up with Wisconsin. Paid interest only for 6 months, and then it would have transitioned over after that, but I sold the property in 5 months.
Did you actually have to pay the interest, or you just pay it at closing?
No, I had to pay the interest.
You did? Yeah. We had one through them too, and we paid interest at when we refinanced out.
Oh, wow. That's
So they
sick.
locked us at the 4.125 rate that they had going at the time.
Yeah.
And then they held the proceeds in the account because they had the remember who went out and did it. So anything under I think 400,000, they can just do in house.
Yeah.
For the appraisal or the evaluation.
Yep.
So they came through, did the evaluation of what it'll be worth afterwards, held that in account until we were done. And when we refinanced out, they took the, what we owed in interest out of that proceeds and then gave us the proceeds.
That's cool.
So literally paid nothing the whole time
That's
outside
so
of
beautiful.
expense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like when I set up my this is something I didn't understand, and why like people go out and get hard money. What I understand is like Citizen, Sterling, Wisconsin. No, Wisconsin not as much because it's a lot more red tape.
Mm-hmm.
But Citizens and Sterling, I can go in there. I got to put 20% down on the purchase price, but then I got a construction loan, and so at each stage or whatever, I submit my work and I get refunded, and then I pay my guys. I pay off my bills, and then I do the next step, and so I need 1/6 of the money that people need for a normal flip because I'm able to only put 20% down that stays in, but then I'm just recycling that same 20 grand. You know, whatever.
So are they selling 20% if you're getting a smoking deal on it and doing ARV rehab
yeah.
valuation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically, yeah. So they're like, yep, they want 20% of the purchase price.
No matter what.
No matter what. And they base it off of ARV.
Yeah, that changed in the last year?
That changed in the last 9 months.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case a year
Before
ago.
they just do straight ARV.
They 5-10% ARV, whatever. Yeah, it just didn't.
Yeah.
But now they're like, they're almost like qualifying you now. They're like, we want to make sure you have money. So I'm like, whatever, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sure, with the market shifting a little bit, that's probably part of it. Just
Yeah.
a little more cushion, a little more
Mm-hmm.
safety.
Yeah.
So I guess that'd be kind of like you're going against what you're saying, though, as far as with hard money, because literally hard money is they're still going to want you to have some skin in the game as far as for rehab, whatever else. But literally, I can do that just with rehab costs. They'll cover everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just depends on your position. Not everyone's in the position of having a extra collateral or even that 20% down.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Huh. I like it, though. I like the construction loans.
Mm-hmm.
Shit makes my life easy. It makes it so I can do it all. I don't got to go, which, I mean, I should build a hard money. I should build a relationship down the line, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, well. It's life.
We just need to stop having these year-long flips.
Yeah. I'm kind of almost glad we kept Alpha Avenues.
Are you? Well, now that people are.
We got a couple people interested.
Yeah.
And,
some good people.
yeah.
Well, because we always talked about.
Oh, yeah, dude. Because we talked about putting some real.
Some big families in those houses.
Big families in the houses to, like, fuck with the neighbors. But we had some, like, people we know, like, good people reach out, and we're like, I guess we can do that.
I don't
So
know.
that's when you're keeping?
No, we're selling them.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. They might not like the neighbors with how nosy they are. That's for sure.
Oh, that's the
town of Washington.
Town of Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never heard. How did that end up?
So actually, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm gonna just preface it with this: over the years, being with like Stable Living, and then really like looking into a lot of things the county does, looking into a lot of things our government system does. Right. When I was with Stable, I lost so much faith. I didn't have much, dude. I had littles, but then I lost a lot when I actually saw how a lot of these agencies were ran, and I would say it straight out to case managers, everything, how I was not impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like one of them got investigated as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
stole a couple mil, crazy, DHS, what the fuck. Anyways, so town of Washington approves it, right? Goes to the county. At the county, there's a petition with 22 signatures, I think. Boom, goes back to town of Washington. Town of Washington's like, we already settled this, back to the county. I didn't even know, dude. I get a phone call 3 days before the thing. They're like, are you going? And I was like, what do you mean? Like to the town of Washington meeting? And they're like, no, it's back to county.
And that's the one Kyle went to, only Kyle?
Yeah, so
Town of Washington?
Yep, Kyle went, so Kyle, myself, and Jeremy, with Real Land Surveying, we all went to the town of Washington together, where we had passed the town of Washington 4-1. And then we went to only Kyle and Jeremy went to the county meeting, and they're like, nope, postpone. It's going back.
Because that was our Christmas party.
That was our Christmas party.
Yeah, okay.
So, yep, postpone going back. So, like, okay, shit. And then, so Jeremy calls me 3 days before, Shaun, you going? I was like, I didn't plan on it. And he's just like, oh, we're back at the county. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, Town of Washington already approved it. They said this is bullshit. Send it back. So, okay. So we go to the county.
Oh, first off, you get a phone call the day of the meeting asking for specific things. Let's not forget that.
I get a phone call day of from fucking... Keep in mind, dude, this has already gone there. We've been in contact with like the county people since last September. Is when I finally got a hold of them and actually started having conversations last September. They called me asking for a document the day of. And I'm just like, what are you fucking doing, dude? They're like, well, you were supposed to get this over to us in the last like month. And I was like, thanks for the email, dog.
What document?
They wanted to see a newly updated floor plan for how it would look after I put the walls in. And I'm like, well, do I need that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, why? I'm like, all we're doing, I was like, how I lay this out should have nothing to do with approval. The fact is, I can make it happen, and all that should matter is like if that's okay. So no, dude, it's like, the guy's like, well, you're gonna have to figure something out because we're gonna need it there. I'm like, whatever. So I go to Real Land Surveying, I get the regular plans, make copies, put in a couple lines, send it off. Because all I'm doing, dude, I'm putting one wall in. I literally drew a line down the center.
Which the wall's already there.
The wall's there, dude. It just didn't show it on the plan. So I just drew a line down the center. They're like, so then he calls me back. I don't see any changes. I was like, yeah, there's a line down the center. And he's just like, well, that doesn't show me how things are laid out. I was like, what do you mean? It's split in half. That's the floor plan. And the guy's like, well, we'll just see how it goes at the meeting. I was like, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. So we get there, dude. And there's supposed to be 4 people, but there's supposed to be 5. And there's 3 there. And they're all older. And by older, the youngest one was definitely mid-60s. Oldest one's probably knocking on 75, 80. So I'm sitting here. I look over at Jeremy. I'm like, we need some young people up there. And he's like, yep. He's like, you should run. And I'm like, no. But anyways, it's because it's like the zoning commission or whatever. Anyways, we sit down. They pull up the plan. They're like, oh, TTH versus Town of Washington, whatever. They pull up the drawing, and the zoning guy is just stumbling over everything. I think he was just learning how to speak that day. Really wasn't sure what was going on. And so I'm just sitting here the whole time, like just waiting for them to call me up so I can explain. So boom, they call me up. I go up there. Finally, one of the people are like, is the owner here? And the guy's like, yep. Why don't we have the owner explain this? I was like, thank you. Go up there. Explained it. Guess what? Made sense because what do we do? Put a line down the center. So they were like, okay, cool. Okay, I go sit down, and they're like, okay, does anybody have anything like pro or against him doing this? Dude, and the line just starts going. People going up there saying how I shouldn't be allowed to do this. 30 years ago when they put this up, it was meant to be single family, and I'm going to ruin the neighborhood by making them duplexes, all this stuff, right? This wonderful lady was like, I do not care. She's like, I am here to listen to see if this is a viable thing, not to listen to your guys' opinions. What is wrong with a duplex going there? I need to know like why a duplex can't go there. And people are just going 100% on emotion the whole time, right? Finally, she's like, I'm done with this. She's like, this is all shit. She's like, this is all things that your community should have brought 30 years ago when these were being built. You should have brought that to your township as an issue. Instead, you're bringing it to me 30 years after. She's like, I haven't even been here for 30 years. She's like, that kid wasn't alive that owns the buildings, and you're coming at us with stuff about 30 years ago. She's like, no. And I was like, this is beautiful. And so then the one guy said, he's like, okay, I want to make sure what we're voting on. We're voting on if this conditional approval, if we see anything wrong for not approving this to be a duplex with zoning and code. And the zoning commissioner was like, that is correct. And then the zoning commissioner said, keep in mind, if you guys do not pass this, you need to be able to state what codes are not met. You need to be able to state what zoning's not met. Otherwise, you will be like against your oath, and you will be approving based on emotion. And we passed it just like that. And I was like, that was the first time I've dealt with the county where I was like, wow, I've got a little faith in the system again. Because they were like, no bullshit. And the lady even said, she's like, townships are to hear the neighbors' opinions and feelings. She says, they didn't want to listen to your feelings. You come into my room talking about feelings. I do not give a shit about your feelings. I'm here to go on code. And so boom, passed us. So it's beautiful.
Which town of Washington already had said good to go anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, 4-1 vote.
The funny thing was those houses were built in 2007, 2005.
2003, I think one broke ground. The other one broke ground in 7, I think.
That wasn't 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
According to my calculations.
These people are neat. They're really neat. So, yeah.
So it went well.
Yeah, we were just down, I guess going 2 weeks ago down to Realtor and Government Day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was that last week? Just last week.
That was last
actually.
week.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's talked about there is for housing. So if that ever comes up again, there's literally a huge push even for, and there's actually a lot of grant money for living space up above commercial. Because a lot of that's all abandoned now, right?
Sure.
Like above bars and all that. There's actually tons of grant money
Really?
for that. Or if you ever run into that and you want people to show up on your behalf, just reach out to me, or there's a guy that heads it up at our board office. Riley's his name.
Okay.
And they literally will rally the troops to show up because there's always opposition, right? There's usually never people for support of it.
Sure.
So that's what they do is they literally gather up people that are in support of it, pointing out that we're in a huge housing shortage. So
awesome.
Especially if it's something that's going to add housing.
Wait,
Right.
Are you telling me there's a housing shortage and we're bringing in
Right.
75 immigrants to our
that makes sense.
community?
Not only
What?
us, but also you got Chippewas looking to do the same thing.
I think they were trying to pause it because Eau Claire County approved it without telling Chippewa that they were also housing these people. So Chippewa was like, wait, you need to tell us.
I would guess it was probably done in cahoots together at the same time. But
Yeah, I tried looking up what happened because there was a county meeting to try and pause the immigrants coming. Eau Claire passed the pause, but I don't know if Chippewa
Eau
did.
Claire was in such a shit show about it because it was that should be a public hearing, and they held it in closed door. They held it in closed session and approved it. And nothing like that should ever be closed session approved.
And
Ever.
They didn't properly notify everyone that they were thinking about it either, because they didn't notify police, they didn't notify the schools that there was going to be an influx of population.
Dude, I was told that they brought some illegal immigrants up and put them up in Hayward, filled a motel and stuff up in Hayward with illegal immigrants and whatnot. And it's like, dude, maybe those things should be public hearings with the citizens, because I can almost guarantee the citizens are going to say, fuck no.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we were on our East Coast trip, when I was looking at hotels and stuff and booking, there was multiple reviews on different hotels of don't stay here, it's full of illegal immigrants. They're just housing them in these hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah. But a lot of the businesses are doing it because it's literally just a blank check from the freaking government.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Crazy, dude.
On another side note, if you haven't seen it, there is a survey going out about parking in downtown Eau Claire. They're trying to make it so street parking is free for 2 hours. So they're trying to make it now where it's all going to be paid. And then they talked about too, like, does there need to be a safety officer around downtown, or something else? And
Probably make it an equity officer.
Nah.
That's what they'd want to do.
Well, and like there was an extra comment section, and I was just like, stop giving homeless people money, and they wouldn't be hanging around downtown.
Yeah.
If you start making people pay for parking, like it better go into a fund to like actually fix the streets and stuff instead of your greedy ass
projects.
wallets.
Just going to pet projects.
Yeah.
To make the city even more.
Oh, and then I said, stop building useless shit on empty lots.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I said.
It's just
That was great.
true. I mean, that's one thing that separates us from every big city. We don't have paid parking.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, we pay enough in taxes here. Like, you guys squander our fucking taxes enough, dude.
Yeah.
We could
Well,
chill.
I think what they did some of the ramps that are paid parking
Mm-hmm.
or permitted parking.
Yeah.
But I think enough people avoid them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now they're like, well, shit, that didn't give us enough revenue. So what's our next forced hand thing that we can do?
Well, and that's what, like, because people have been complaining about parking downtown ever since they built Pablo. Was that the last parking
Yeah.
lot that
Mm-hmm.
got removed? And people have been complaining about it, and they're like, oh, well, there's the parking ramps down there. And it's just like, okay, the one is across the river. So if it's snowy and icy, you have to walk 15 minutes to get to your business. And the other one is kind of where a lot of homeless people live. So
Mhm.
that's great, too.
Right.
So it's
But
just
they
like-
knew nothing about it. Like
No.
I've only lived here. Not only. I guess I've lived here since like 17 years. I've lived here, and I don't remember. Even in the past, probably 10 years, I don't think it was bad. But it seems like the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's just getting to the point where
I'd say the last 2 years have been way worse than anything else.
Yeah, because I used to go down to the YMCA. I trained at the YMCA in 2013. And there was like 2 homeless dudes. But they were like, what the thing with those 2 homeless dudes that like we saw often, they came in, they were friendly. They washed their fucking nuts in the shower. And they would sit in that room and drink coffee and shit. And I was like, that's cool, dude. You guys aren't they're not rambunctious. They're nice. They're chatting. They're staying clean. Whatever. They pay their membership. It's $15 a month. Awesome. Okay, cool. The amount and so I was down in that neighborhood every day training. 2. Now, dozens,
no.
Mm-hmm.
dude. And I'm like, and they all smell like piss. The whole block that shifts on smells like piss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude.
You even get down by the trail, behind where Family Video used to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Dollar General.
Dude.
Like, it's pretty pathetic when, so my wife is, doesn't like seeing that stuff. But anyways, we were walking and, where the patch of trees are right behind the old festival, or Family Video.
Oh, yeah.
We're literally walking past there and it looks like a little village.
Yeah.
Like trash everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't even walk along the river and enjoy it. One time we were walking down there, I think it's the last time we did it, there was someone like literally passed out 2 feet off the trail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's like, are they okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they're just sleeping it off. She's like, well, should we call the cops? I was like, what are they going to do?
You wake them up. And
She's like,
send
well,
them
make
on
sure
the
they're
side
okay.
of
I'm
the
like, they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally, as we're talking, they roll over and fall back asleep. So I was talking to a city cop, lieutenant cop, friend of mine. He was like, yeah, we cannot do anything. Like, we are literally handcuffed by the city. If we do anything, they literally come for our heads. Like, they're not allowed to say anything, do anything. I'm like, get them move along.
We literally, I don't know if you remember this. I think Shaun and I have talked about this before. It was like 3-4 years ago. This homeless lady lived on this specific bench downtown, and when she passed away, they like memorialized like her bench or whatever, like put all these flowers and stuff on her, and they're just like, she was just so nice in the morning. And I was just like, okay, but she lived like she lived on that bench for a while, like that was her spot. And I was just like, we shouldn't be like proud of this.
Right.
Like, we should be like, oh, this is a problem, how do we fix this problem?
Right. And I'm all for, I mean, we've talked about it in the past, want to do stuff for like a recovery housing, people that are truly trying to do better.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't to sound cold, but I bet you 90% that are in Eau Claire truly aren't trying to do better.
No.
Dude. No, they're
Like
not
I
trying
volunteer at the food pantry or at not Feed My People. What's the food?
Community table?
Yeah, community table. And it's just amazing. For one, like some of the questions those people ask, like almost like they're entitled to more. I'm like, nope, you get one of each thing. And that's it. Like, oh, can I have two of those? And like, no, you get one so everyone can have some. But it's like, what are you doing with your day? And you can tell most of those people are like, and it's so cold, but they're either strung out or they're half sleeping still. I'm like, holy shit, it's 2 p.m.
Yeah, it's a reason they're homeless, dude.
Mhm.
I always thought about it. I was like, man, I want something to happen so I can be homeless. So I can show all these homeless people how to fucking get back on your feet. And I was like, oh, it'd take me 1 month. It'd be stupid.
Mhm.
It wouldn't even be fair.
There was a homeless guy that lived in Banbury because they have the indoor storage units.
Yeah.
And they're only like $30 a month. He lived there. He was very nice. If someone else was going into the elevator, he would not go in. Like, he would wait until he was the only one to go in the elevator. I'm assuming because he probably smelled bad.
Mhm.
But he, like, got his shit together. Like, he might still live there, but, like, he looks clean now. I see him, like, leave at the exact same time every day, so I think he has a job and goes there. But I was just like, that's how you do it. Like, he was able to survive just going there. They're living there for $30 a month and is now, like, getting his life back together.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think there's enough things out there if people truly want to do better. There's options.
Oh, but dude.
Like,
Well,
people bitch about rent. It's like, okay, you don't have to live on your own, for one. Get some roommates. Go rent a 2-bedroom place. Maybe throw one on the couch.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably breaking your lease at that point, but whatever. Throw one on the couch. There's 3 of you sleeping in a 2-bedroom. Whatever, make it. Or at that point, there'll be 5 of you.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
2 in each bedroom, and
everywhere's hiring people for, like, $15 an hour now.
yeah,
Too
which is why
easy.
everything's so damn expensive.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me. Well, yeah, we're just gonna go $15 an hour minimum wage, and it's not gonna affect everything. Well, yeah, dumbass. Like, businesses still need to make money. It's gonna catch up.
Well, and that's like, there's companies now in, like, states that raise their minimum wage that are cutting jobs because they're like, we can't afford to pay this for minimum wage.
Bro, you
Yeah.
see the UPS?
Yeah,
I
UPS.
fucking love that
I have
shit,
friends
dude.
that work there, so they're like, it's support staff.
Yeah.
A lot of their support staff, and my friend was saying, who's a manager there, it's like, yeah, like, I'm guessing it's probably just going to be a trickle down effect.
Mm-hmm.
Even though their profits are, they record great profits, but companies like that are proactive. They're not reactive.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Usually-
proactive, way ahead of time. So I guarantee you, as soon as they knew they were having to increase their wages,
Well, and it's not like
we're cutting.
it's not like e-commerce is, like, booming right now. Like, I know for my company, like, our sales are down quite a bit, and, like, USPS is doing everything to cut their rates down too. So, like, in the past 5 years that I've worked in shipping, these are the lowest shipping rates I've ever seen, and, like, we're not shipping nearly as much either. So I know both USPS and UPS are not getting as much money as they were.
Yeah. Which is crazy because I worked there 7-8 years ago, and I thought it was busy,
Mhm.
but then literally you had like the blow up, and I think they're probably double that when I was there, just in Eau Claire alone.
Mhm.
So I think maybe it's coming back to reality
Right.
a little bit, but still.
Yeah, our orders are still lower, quite a bit lower than they were when I started in 2018, 2017,
Yeah.
2018.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's all just ties back to the fact that if we don't take care of our shit and, like, hold these places, these agencies and things accountable, then we get the shaft. The average person gets the shaft, which we see every day.
Mm-hmm.
In everyday life, we see it. And it's super fun and cool. So what can we do? We can have REI-CON. And we can teach people How to better themselves.
Yeah. Have people like you run for office.
Hey, now.
You did say in a podcast.
I did say I was going to.
You did.
I know.
What happened?
I got lazy.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so I think that's the, not to get political, but maybe to get a little political.
Just a little bit.
So part of the issue, I think, is like conservatives, a lot of our business owners, I mean, there's a bunch on both sides, right? But people just don't get involved. Conservatives don't seem to get involved in local politics,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's school board, whether it's, and part of that is, you'll see this in education, see it firsthand. You get, same with that, conservatives in public education are quiet
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want the freaking mob attacking them, right? So I think you get that with business owners too. Like even for myself, usually I leave politics out of most stuff because as an agent and a team leader, I don't really want to deal with the backlash.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point does that stop? Because you get the other side that doesn't seem to give a fuck. Like they'll voice exactly, they're
Right.
pro this, they're pro that, they're anti this, anti that.
But some of those are the companies that are suffering, though. I mean, because you got to think, like, Bud Light, I think, is still suffering from their backlash of last year.
But they won't do anything. They still won't do anything
Right.
about it because of the backlash that'll happen if they let, the wackadoodle that they're promoting
Right.
Yeah.
go. It's going to be a huge backlash by, again, probably just a handful.
Mm-hmm.
But they, yeah. Yeah, I
So
think
if they cut ties with that person, could you imagine?
they probably get more business.
They probably.
Probably get more business, but you can imagine just you'd still get.
They would get so destroyed in the media.
Did you see Dana White come out and
Yeah.
like kind of stick up for Bud Light?
Yeah, he signed a deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signed a deal with him, and then also said he feels like their values do truly align more with his.
Mm.
Which his values aren't really obviously that big of a secret. So I
Yeah.
was like, when I heard that, I was like,
But yeah, I mean, at least that like was Budweiser as a whole, not just like the
Right.
Bud Light
Oh
brand.
yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just so hard. We've talked about it before, like how conservatives are they're much more quiet, and I think it's because they know like how much backlash they'll get from.
Well, that and typically a lot of them are pretty busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Like yeah, like I've got some liberal friends. I don't know a single one of them as busy as me. And I'm not just being like, oh, I'm busy.
Right.
I'm saying like, no, I'm doing shit. I'm fit. I'm fucking like helping people out. Hosting Whiskeria with you. Like I am truly trying to help as many people as I can. Podcasts, all this stuff. A lot of my liberal friends, I mean, we're friends and stuff. Yeah, great. They're playing with their dingling, fucking eating Cheetos, watching TV all night long.
Playing video games.
Playing video games, whatever. And then they're like, oh,
You're the
conservatives, you're the problem. I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying to help people be better.
Right.
What do you mean? So,
Mhm.
but
That's
I mean,
transphobic, Shaun.
I know. But it's seriously, I honestly, like, when I look at my conservative friends compared to my liberal friends, my conservative friends are doing a lot more stuff.
Mhm.
They're a lot more busy, a lot more active, a lot more helpful.
Right.
That was like one thing Shaun and I were kind of worried about moving to this neighborhood. Was like we're like, oh, we're gonna be the only like Republicans, and then there's a house a couple blocks down that just has like all these Trump 2024 signs in front of your yard, and we're like, okay, I think we'll like this.
Yeah. I think so many people now today, though, honestly, are more Republican and conservative, and they just don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to label themselves
I think
that.
you've had a big shift. I think there's definitely been a big shift.
Yeah.
The other side is almost so extreme. And I gladly put out the conservative Republican flyers out in the yard, everything.
Oh,
else.
yeah.
And our neighbors are definitely opposite. Which
Yeah.
whatever. They're decent people.
Right.
Lesbians. Again, I don't care.
Oh, dude.
They're good to our kids, they watch our dogs.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I guarantee we don't align politically.
No.
That's okay. Like I think that's one thing that I don't like about the atmosphere we have is I catch myself doing this sometimes too. If I see a freaking Democrat or liberal freaking sign in the yard, I just want to rip it out of their yard and go beat them with it. But it's
Yeah.
like it's really not the way to be. And Again, if you don't take the time to know someone, I think
Right.
you can have those conversations and probably win some wars just with having the conversations.
Well, and as a society, we need to have opposing opinions. Like,
Right.
you don't want a society that all thinks the same way.
No.
You guys, do either of you listen to PBD podcast? Patrick Bet David.
Only when you tell me to.
Very little. I've listened to it a little bit, but
So what it is so they've got
he's also on a news network, right? Is it?
Valuetainment. It's his news network.
Okay.
Yeah, it's his. Yeah, so he has Valuetainment, and he's got a panel, and so he's got liberal, himself who's conservative. He's got two other conservatives, and they sit and they talk and debate and shit every day, right? They're all friends. They're all best friends. They always do everything together, right? But it's so interesting when typically out of everybody, Adam, the liberal, is the one typically always going off on emotions. And he's like very successful, fit dude, but he's the one that's always going off on emotions. And these guys will talk to him and be like, Adam, what are you saying? Like, what are you're telling us right now, like the most recent one, they're like, you're telling us right now that you think we should be sending a $95 billion to everyone else instead of fixing our border. And like, he finally comes around and is like, no, guys, I'm saying we should do the border first, but I'm saying if we don't do the border, at least we're doing something good with that money. And they're like, no. Like, you do not put on the person's mask next to you if the airplane's going down. You put yours on so you survive, so then you can help people.
Right.
And it's just so neat how some people, and I don't know if it's because of estrogen, I don't know if it's like they don't want to look bad in public or whatever it is, but it's such a thing. Like, you have to protect yourself first. Military, dude, you know that. If you're in a gunfight and your buddy gets shot, you do not go get your buddy until you neutralize the threat. You have to protect yourself first. Because if you run out to get him and you get shot,
it's two dead instead of one.
Exactly. And dude, people like cannot take that easiest concept and implement it into.
We're bringing it back all the way from the beginning. Just taking a concept and like applying it into your life.
Good job, babe. That's it. All you get. It doesn't matter at what scale you put it at. You can take any concept and relate it, and that's why REI-CON's so powerful.
We put it all the way around.
All right, gangster.
Let's go. Let's go back to REI-CON.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
4 speakers.
Okay.
Do we have one in mind yet? Let's just put it out to the universe who we're going to go after.
You tell me. You tell me, big dog. It's your idea.
I have thought Brandon Turner would be phenomenal
For year 3. Going big for year
to
3.
get. But I also have heard what his price tag is.
What is that?
Colin said he doesn't. It's $10,000 minimum even just to get to.
That's a little bit more money than.
Yeah,
than
I'd make
budget.
that a year 5 or 10 goal.
Well, let's not go 10. Maybe year 4, maybe. But even I mean, the big thing is this, and this is like because we were in Rob Bailey's coaching group. And what he said is like at the longer you're in the world, you build those relationships. Everybody scratches everybody's back.
Right.
No one pays no one anything. It's I'll speak at this event if next event you have me on or whatever, whatever it is, like, because it's all about scratching each other's back and everybody getting that exposure through everyone's different audiences. And so the way I look at it is like, I am 100% willing to try and get a Brandon Turner. David Green would be cool. Like Rankin, obviously Rankin. I am definitely open to trying to like building those relationships, trying to get those people in. But if it doesn't make sense financially, obviously we can't do it.
Right.
But I mean, the more we're in it, the more years, the more connections, those things will all start to come together.
Yeah. And let's be honest, a lot of those that we've even had so far probably aren't happening at West Korea just because they have 600 members.
Absolutely.
now 8 locations coming in.
Yeah,
So that helps us.
big time.
It's huge, I think. But as we continue to hopefully have great events, getting good reviews, building out our website, all that. Because obviously when you can show someone, hey, here's our website, here's our past speakers, here's our reviews,
Right.
go into all that, just builds that credibility.
Absolutely.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
So other than that, who are you thinking? I know you said Investor Girl Brit, right?
Oh yeah,
You said
dude.
that.
I'd like to try to get Investor Girl Brit. Couple reasons. One, she's hot. No, but, no, why Investor Girl Brit? She's really not at a crazy level. She's got like 35 units. And then she has like 35 residential units, and then she moved into she's doing self-storage stuff, which it seems a lot of people are moving towards that. But I'd really want her to come in the fact of she had a job. In her spare time, she would go and do the majority of the work by herself. She has 1,000 reels of her working on these properties the last 6 years. People always talk about relating. You have a very good looking gal come in who's like, yeah, I self-taught myself how to fucking redo floors, how to build walls, how to put up trim, all that. And I did that in the afternoon after my W-2 job for 3 years. Dude, that right there, people sitting in the crowd wanting to relate, get off your fucking ass and spend your afternoons flipping a house.
Right. So that's how I got started too when we started doing ours, when we first did our few flips, even our rentals, like when we bought our duplex in Halley. We lived with the in-laws for what ended up being like 3 months. We're just going to move in quick, but I started tearing into stuff and needed to redo all the flooring.
Right.
But I literally set a full-time job. We'd go there at nights and weekends. I had to fix up both sides so we could move in one and get tenants in the other. Then we bought that flip on 9th Street. That was all, did all that. That was all by myself. Then the one you saw on House Road.
Yep.
No, not House Road.
I know what you're talking about.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yep. That was, we did have some help on that, but I still did most of that all myself. But it really makes you appreciate too when you're able to get out of that. That's
Dude, I seriously
I think back to our first house.
running a business, managing a machine shop full time. Get done with work at 5, get to the house, work until 9:30, 10, get home, hit the rack, wake up, do it all the next day. But I still need to train. So I get up at 5, go train, work, business, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we did 3 months straight. Boom. Every day until we got it good enough to move into.
Well, we had to.
We had to.
Our lease was up and we were like, gotta move in.
Yeah. That's the thing with timelines, right? Like that's a forced timeline. You had no choice.
Make it happen.
Like I think the real test of someone's credibility or test of their will, it's like when there's not a timeline.
Yeah.
They're still
willing to get it.
Right. Are still willing to get after it just because that takes them to the next level.
Dude, I go into these properties now. And the first thing I think of when I'm in a property is, holy fuck, I'm in over my head. And then I remember, I got a team now. And I'm like, never mind. But like from when the first times I was looking at properties, I knew I had to do everything. And now like getting into a place, I'm like, man, I got a fucking lot of work like chalked up. And then I just laugh. And I'm like, never mind. My team does. Thank God.
Right.
Because, dude, it transforms everything. Just like you said, when you got one dude renovating a whole house to now you got 3, 4, you got some subs and everything. And it's like, oh my God, it moves. You get better quality because you got people with different skill sets and things just.
Still a level of stress.
Oh, for
just
sure. Different stress.
Yeah.
Different stress.
Yeah.
So,
but Investor Girl Brit.
Yeah, so Investor Girl Britt, and the other one I was thinking is Red Suit Realtor from Utah.
Yeah, he'd be cool.
Yeah, we met him at an event, a Limitless and CCB event.
Yeah, he has his own coaching group.
Yep, has his own coaching group. He does. His goal is to help 1,000 investors flip houses, because he's a real estate He's a realtor, investor realtor, and also his like main thing is he flips. So I think that'd be a pretty cool person to have because not only realtor side, right, can help a lot of people, but he'll be able to help the flippers in the room and all that. And so I think that would be a pretty good one to try and get in.
Yeah. His name's drawing a blank right now. I sent you some of his videos. Big wholesaler. Sent you his videos, and he's very energetic. He was actually he spoke at 10X a few years ago.
Okay.
We reached out to him for this one. He was able to.
Oh, okay. Dang. I don't remember.
Jeepers. I'll remember as soon as we're done here today. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyways, yeah, we got the nice thing about the upper Midwest. It's not really looked at, but there are a lot of high-level people on the upper Midwest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tons of high-level people.
Yeah.
Even in our little network, I mean, there's tons, but like you said, get over towards Minneapolis or even, I know some big people that are in Detroit area.
That'd be cool.
Do very well. But.
Yeah, I think all those people, I mean, as long as, because the big thing with like the REI-CON thing is as long as they have some sort of speaking talent, because I know like some guys in the area that I can think of offhand that I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to have them come speak at Wisco and tell their story, but not necessarily a REI-CON thing because they just have experience ripping real estate. They don't have experience speaking, so like the mixture of they can speak and they're in real estate, I think is what's, I mean, for the REI-CON events is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to mention to you, kind of off topic, more towards regular Wisco Re event. Yesterday, we had someone come and talk at brokerage about 1031 exchanges.
Yeah.
So I just talked to him. I said, hey, would you be interested? He's like, yeah, definitely.
That would be so valuable because
there's so much misconception or falsehoods that like people think that if it's it needs to be like a like property. If it's a duplex, it needs to be a duplex. And he's like, no, that's not the case. It needs to be a property, or it could be land. You can actually put it into 3 properties. It doesn't need to be 1 property. So there's so many misnomers with it. And then also DST, which I had never heard of, Delaware States Trust or something like statutory trust. But what you can do with that is if you don't have a property to put into, you literally put your 1031 money into a trust and then sit back and collect, just like if you were to do a REIT in a sense, right? Except for it's just into a trust. So you park your money in it and the manager of it gets to determine when it's sold or whatever. But he said typically it's 3 to 5 years and you're collecting anywhere from 3 to 5%. But the nice thing is you're obviously still getting appreciation because you are part owner of the building. So you own part of the building, so you want a percentage. So if it's, he said one of the things he will push to certain people is new build. Because that's, you get fastest appreciation, but you don't get a lot of cash flow right at the start.
That's super smart.
So DSTs. So we talked a little bit about that, but it's kind of like a 1,000-foot view of it. But I was like, oh.
Because, I just sold 2 properties this year, and then I'm looking at selling 2 more. I should really talk to that dude. That would be very beneficial.
Right. Just park it in that. And then you can obviously, when you get paid back out on it, you can just put it back into more or. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I should really look at the 1031 life. That would also make me push really hard to get some rentals under contract. Damn.
Okay, cool.
This name's Austin. So
it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
All right. I guess wrapping up. Anything else, AJ?
No, just thanks guys for jumping on the journey of REI-CON.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for bringing us along, dude.
Next year will be... I'm really excited for next year because I feel like I thought first year was great.
Yeah.
And you get done with it.
This year was phenomenal.
Then you get in a second year and it's like, okay, first year sucked. Second year was great. So now I'm excited for like what next year is. Do we, if we can do the leaps and bounds like we did from year 1 to year 2 into, carry that into year 3.
Oh, dude, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, we got some really good feedback.
What's some of the stuff we did then before we cut it loose? Because, I figured, hey, let's just do the event. We'll just start selling tickets. Shit's going to go like hotcakes. It'll be done. We're 4 months into it and had 30 tickets sold.
23, I think.
23 tickets sold.
Yeah, this is the number one thing we learned. At least this was like the biggest slap in the face. I do not post on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started posting on social media, none of my friends were seeing my posts about REI-CON. I would ask Brooke at the office, Sam at the office, hey guys, you see my post? No. I'd text my friends, hey guys, you see my post like about upcoming REI-CON event? No, Shaun, we didn't see it, but we would definitely check it out. And I had a lot of friends, once we started reaching out to them, signing up for the thing, because they had not seen it before, and I was personalized texting them, right?
Yep, same.
So, dude, I mean, like, moving forward, the biggest thing I think is going to be, one, posting frequently on social media so our shit pops up. But then just knowing when we're 1 month out, we're messaging all our friends. Right. Message your network.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's something we realized, like, after, like, you two started was that, because when we went to, like, it wasn't even a VIP thing, but the thing with Rob Bailey in Vegas, we were, like, the only outsiders. Like, there was, like, one other couple that was an outsider.
Good
the rest
point.
of the people that were there were, like, friends of some of the people that were, like, the coaches of the group.
Yeah, it was all just people's, like, network. Everyone that was in that room was all network, and then there was, like, 4 of us who were like, oh, no, dude, we just saw online.
Yeah, we just saw Rob post about it, and we were like, oh, sure. So, yeah, like, once Shaun started texting people, and then they would sign up, we were like, oh, shit, yeah, Rob had to do that, too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. Same thing. Right? So I think we both had around 8 or 9 people sign up by reaching out to them.
Yeah.
Each. Mm-hmm. So I think.
Well, so that was 8 or 9 just with our codes. But you and I gave out other codes where we had people sign up too. So, I mean, I bet you between the two of us, we probably got 25 people sign up just by us reaching out.
And I liked, like, giving, like, some other people codes too. So we gave Ryan a code. Mm-hmm. Ryan and Eva had a code. I think they had, like, 3 on theirs. Mm-hmm. Just, like, people that we know are big promoters, because then we can see too, like, who is drawing in the people.
Yeah.
But I did think it was fun having a little secret competition between you two.
AJ won.
He used your code. One person. AJ had asked him to sign up 3 or 4 times. Didn't sign up. Shaun.
Yeah, he's actually a client, dude. He bought a house with me.
Yeah.
Did he really?
He used Shaun's code because Shaun texted him and told him. So you two tied.
No, because he ended up getting one more.
Yeah.
Right at the end, like that came in that morning. That day. So he ended up getting 10. I got 9.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
Mm-hmm. Who's the man? Just kidding. No, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. But it is weird that you'd literally have to reach out to people in person, like, "Hey,
did you sign up?"
Yeah.
Hopefully too. So when people bought their tickets, it gives them the option to, like, do you want, like, to know when there's a future event by these hosts? So I think when the tickets for the next event went live, they all got an email as well, like, hey, their next event is live. Here's
I did see that for Eventbrite. You can subscribe to the hosts or whatever.
Hopefully people that did go this year did click that option, so they will see when tickets go live again.
If not,
November 15th.
We have everyone's email.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have everyone's email.
Which would be good to hit that up. I do think, biggest thing that I learned this year was the promotion-wise for actually putting the event on. Mm-hmm. And then just the feedback we got about how we should structure the day of.
My thing was don't print itineraries until the morning of.
Yeah. Yep. Because it changes.
Literally, I printed off the itineraries
2 minutes later.
Not even. It was like while they were in the printer printing, and we get a text, hey, can I switch to second instead of first? And I just printed them.
Yeah.
So morning of.
We talked about that too, not doing that in the past, because it did, which obviously the guy's helping us out by coming to help fill a spot, right? So it's kind of like, how do you tell him no, too bad.
Oh, yeah.
But really try not to mess with the lineup, because it did, like you said, that was a good point. I didn't really think about that as far as having automation go right away. Like that's a lot to digest if you're not even in the mindset yet
Right.
of
Yeah.
business. Where last year, one thing I will say about last year, it did flow very well from your mindset to
Or
you
your
know,
vision to your
yeah.
Yeah. And that was our number one compliment last year was the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so hopefully we can get back to that next year and make it actually all make sense again. Would be really good. Cool.
What was your number one thing that you learned?
I expected ticket sales to go a lot easier. Just that extra work putting in, that was.
I was shocked. I have to admit, I was shocked.
But big thing is, I mean, literally it happened, right? So we still got 60 people, 85 people total in the room, just huge. But now I think it's just easier next year to automate a lot more of that.
Yeah.
Now we got everyone in email. Yeah, everyone was there. We got their email. Doing the promo codes maybe a little easier or earlier for, like you said, people like Ryan and Eva or people that are going to actually promote the event. Getting a code doesn't even have to be. I don't want to go with the discount route for everything to devalue tickets. But, maybe it's just a small little discount if you sign up under.
I think like 10%. We'll probably do like a 10% discount for people is what it'll be from now on.
Yeah.
And see what that promotion gets us. And then for the Wisco RE, we can have like a 20%. But yeah, no more like nothing big discount anymore.
Just really think about like that $69 day of. We're not like we're raking in the money on that. We're probably maybe breaking even.
That's
by the time you
break
put
even.
marketing and
Yeah.
everything else into that expense, that's
Yeah.
That's probably a break even point.
Right.
Ooh, my other thing is like getting it out to like volume 1 and like maybe some other news things earlier.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I learned.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff, and it'll be fun to put it all into an SOP this year, so that as soon as like October hits, we're able to just bop.
Yeah.
Maybe we sit down again too. When we unload here, go through and like literally that marketing plan we created last year, which we didn't follow because we just kind of created it late, but come up with that marketing plan where it's literally 9 months out.
100%.
Start following it from there.
Yeah, which would be good because when we get stuff back from Brooklyn, marketing plan, and it'll literally just be push and play, bop, every week, piece of content going out every.
Yeah, because even for that, for the like you guys said, for the Facebook posts or the reels and all that, we could literally just find time every 2 weeks to sit down and schedule posts.
That's it.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're not sitting there doing it every day, obviously.
Because you can do it on Canva, right, for Instagram and Facebook.
Should be able to.
Yeah, we could just do because I'm like when I talk to Colin will sit down and record episode after episode after episode for his podcast.
Right.
That's all we have to do. Sit down for 3 hours, schedule all of our posts on Canva, do a couple videos and shit, boom, send it out, and then we're set up every month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So cool. It'll be good, dude. We'll grow.
We already grew a lot.
Grew a lot.
Yeah. Twice the size?
Well,
Just
yeah.
one?
So for those that are listening that didn't know, like for year one was free for members, which would made up probably 90% of our audience.
Yeah.
Last year, this year there was a cost with the ticket.
Yeah.
So
and we
go from that and we doubled our audience.
Yeah.
So I think that alone is huge.
Yeah.
I keep on forgetting that. Like literally last year was a free ticket for people.
Yep. Oh, dude, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Love it.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, gang. Catch you in the next one.
See ya.